on Tide 100.9. This is the sound of Bama Sports. Your show, your team. Good morning. Welcome in and want to invite you to join the conversation at 205 342 9904. 205 342 9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. Open for business. Come on, be a part of it. Also, check us out on social media at Martin Houston 35, at Martin Houston 35, and follow Martin Houston Live on Facebook. Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide team is out there getting ready for a little practice, little scrimmage, heading toward a great weekend. A lot Nick Saban wants to see. What is he going to be looking for? If you could go out and watch this upcoming scrimmage. Hey, Joe, there's something playing in the background. There's absolutely going to be some. Let's see. Hold on one second. With Nick Saban and the team going on, heading into a scrimmage, it is absolutely going to be a great Saturday, and I want to encourage you to be a part of that conversation, talking about the new players that's showing up, the new players that will have an opportunity to catch an eye. Nick Saban even sharing a little bit of concern with the guys. He called them they can rat trap you. You ever heard that term, Joe? Rat trap you?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, Nick Saban used that term on yesterday, that some of these players can rat trap you, meaning that these players can look good in a practice for type environment where the coaches are on the field and giving them clues and giving them pointers, but when you put them out there in the scrimmage and the coach is no longer on the field, they don't quite perform at that level. So he's a little cautious of a couple guys, but he's excited about other guys that he says that may be able to surprise and step up and make some big plays in terms of this, excuse me, in terms of the scrimmage Saturday. So we're going to definitely talk about what we can look for from a scrimmage standpoint with Alabama coming up this weekend. But also, before we get into that, Joe, I know Alabama's out of the basketball tournament. But did you catch any of the basketball last night?
I had the last game, the UCLA game, on what you're probably leading into.
Yeah.
So I watched a decent bit of the second half there.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch as much of the game, but I actually fell asleep early last night for the first time in a long time. But I did wake up to UCLA and the end of that game, and UCLA pulling off the upset against the number one team, and just shows you, man, you don't play games on paper. You don't play games on size. You play games on the court. The first four in UCLA, one of the first four in, and one of the last four standing. So just kind of crazy what's happening in that. Does UCLA stand any chance at pulling off a miracle against Gonzaga?
I think Gonzaga and Baylor are clearly the two best teams left in the tournament. So I'm gonna say no, even though there's obviously a chance. But just for radio effect, I'm gonna say no. They have no chance of beating Gonzaga.
Yeah, well, but for us at least, you as an Alabama team, you feel vindicated, right? As an Alabama fan, that it wasn't a fluke that UCLA played so well against Alabama, as they will end up playing against the Zags in the in the Final Four kind of makes you feel even a little better about what this Alabama team was able to do, taking that team to an overtime. And that's the interesting part about this COVID laced season and seeding and all of that. UCLA magical run. Congratulations to the coach and the players there. And I don't know if after you watch the Zags, I don't know how good this team really is. You hope that people do not put an asterisk on this team. I have you been a little concerned with that? If they were to run it, be 13-0, people will always reference back to, well, it was during COVID, or will this team get the respect it really deserves if they run 32-0?
Well, the people are always going to say, no matter what, their opinion is on the season. Oh well, that happened during the COVID year, the year after COVID happened. But you go undefeated on Gonzaga, they'll be, I believe, the second team to actually finish the job and win an actual championship. I think Kentucky was undefeated but lost in the Final Four, lost in the finals there to Wisconsin. So they'll be the second team after the '76 Indiana team to actually finish the job. And I do think that they are really impressive. They're going to have to get by Baylor, and Baylor's just as impressive. But Drew Timmy and the Zags, I think that they are a great team.
Yeah, it's when you look
When you
at
look at
the
the
record of
record
what
of
they've
what they've
done, I
done,
think they'll be
I
the
think they'll be the
second
second
ones in the March
in the March
Madness era.
Madness
But
era.
I think
But I think
UCLA did it 4 times in a row where they ran it, and then a Bill Russell team. They showed it last night. I think in Bill Russell team in like the 59 or something like that went 29-0. But it's been since the late '70s that anybody's done it in modern football, modern basketball, and I don't care who you are, when you're playing, where you're playing. Um, when you go undefeated, it's an accomplishment. You think about how great a coach Nick Saban is, and he's only managed to have 2 undefeated teams. I mean, when you really think about that, he's only managed to have 2 perfect seasons, and one of them being this past year, which was a very very impressive run, in my opinion, because of all SEC, and then of course uh, the SEC championship, and 2 top flight teams in the college football playoffs. So if they're able to do it, and they showed a stat, Joe, they actually haven't lost a game in over 400 and something days. So they were on a win streak when the season got canceled last year. And may not have been as dominant as they are this year, but had a chance. And they've won whatever double digit games in a row by double digits. So this is a legit, championship team. Let's go ahead. I just wanted to give a shout out to UCLA, and also help us as Bama fans feel a little bit better, but can't help but talk about the Zags as they run on to toward a national championship, perfect season, if they're able to pull it off, and when we'll follow that. Let's go ahead and get to Pat on the phone lines. Pat, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, man?
Hey, good morning. I'm going to be a UCLA fan, I think, for the remainder of the Final Four. And hey, I mean, what they've done to go from the last four to the Final Four is incredible. And hey, but just to McCall, I called in to talk about, man. Hey, I'm hearing some really, really good things about this defense at Alabama. That we're going to be special, more. That we have extreme depth across the front seven, and that this is going to be really, really special. And if we can get our D backs to keep on progressing. What do you think, Martin? And I know this is a day and time of offense. But hey, if we can get 50% or so or better of our possessions to be stops versus people scoring, I think we can have a very special run again this year. What do you think?
Well, it's definitely an era of offensive lace football, but that doesn't mean that defenses aren't good. I think you just have to change the criteria for what's good. There were stints last year in the season that Alabama put up really, really good football numbers on the defensive side of the ball. And if we can get rid of the Ole Miss type performances, the Florida type performances, then I think that's what we're going to need. And we're going to need those performances early. I think if this team's going to make a run uh, and win another national title, Pat, I think it starts with the defensive side of the ball being good, really good early. I know we have a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball, but it takes time when you replace this many players. Offensively, we've been clicking, and the offense has been ahead of the defense. But this is the first time in a long time, I think, that if you were to ask who's going to be key to us winning the early on and then being able to sustain down the stretch, I think there's going to be games where the defense is going to have to play at an elite high level for Alabama to win next season. So we're going to have some games where we may not outscore people like we've come to expect, Pat. And so it'll be interesting. And Curtis Moore pointing out we go to Florida the third game of the season. I think we have Miami coming out game one. And if King is back healthy, then Miami offensively could be a really good team. So early on in the season, we may have a couple tests right off the bat for our defense that they're going to have to play big. And so it's good to have good news coming out. Nick Saban mentioning a couple of players specifically. Jalen Armour-Davis was mentioned, as well as he even mentioned Kool-Aid yesterday, Pat. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That I think that this thing is going to be way more special than we think, Martin. And and I know you and I have kind of crimson colored glasses, and you being a media guy are supposed to be unbiased, but hey, we can't be. Hey, this is an Alabama football show. Hey, so let's look at it with crimson colored welding shield. And hey, thank you, Martin. Hey, y'all have a blessed day.
All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Coming back on the other side, we'll get a little audio from Coach Nick Saban from yesterday. We'll also, don't forget, yesterday, Pro Day, we saw a Devontae Smith sighting as well as a Landon Dickerson sighting. If you want to talk about that, you can bring that into the conversation at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. Let us hear from you.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, everything pretty quiet as we begin our Wednesday morning. No wrecks or problems on the roadways. But of course, if you do see conditions, 205-886-8886. Where are the deals? Townsend Nissan, your hometown dealer. Come grab one today. I'm Captain Ray.
What's in store for your business this week at Staples?
Printing you new signs for the times.
Get back to business with custom printed signs and sales materials. Staples has hundreds of designs to choose from, or just upload your own.
And now at Staples, get 15% off signs, posters, or decals when you spend $75 or more.
Some items printed same day when ordered before 2 p.m.
Save big on custom printing at Staples.
Ends 5/29/21. Exclusions apply. Limit one offer per customer. See store associate or visit staples.com/signage for details.
indecision. These raw feelings are common when users witness an opioid overdose. As a bystander, fear and indecision may race through your mind, but it's vital that you call for help. Alabama's Good Samaritan law protects those who act in good faith in situations like an opioid overdose. Find out more about Alabama's Good Samaritan law at VitalAlabama.com.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply. Come on, one more rep. You got this. There it is. Nice work. You're a beast. Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me. Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right? Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is Testafit, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass. Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves? Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance. Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix. No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text BICEP to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BICEP to 321-321. That's BICEP to 321-321.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Breezy with strong thunderstorms later this morning. Potential for strong straight-line winds, then much colder this afternoon. Temperatures falling into the 40s. For tonight, the sky clearing. Potential for a freeze early tomorrow morning, the low at 32. Tomorrow, sunny, windy, and cool, the high 57. I'm James Spann of the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 69 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Softmark Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising, so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net. Visit them online at softmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Well, I think, one of the big goals in sports, to establish, some of the intangible things that are really important, I think, to having a successful team. The work ethic with the players has been good in the off-season. The work ethic in the practices so far has been good. Right, but also developing a kind of discipline, on your team, whether it's self-discipline, individuals making, good choices and decisions about what they do and what they don't do, because I think that's important to being able to play with discipline on the field, because you're a disciplined person. You're a disciplined person when you get up at 8 o'clock in the morning. You make good choices and decisions as a person, as a student, and as a player, and it becomes a part of who you are. So I think that's something that we continue to work on with our players. We have a lot of really good people on our team. I think leadership is something that we continue to work on with our team. But, sometimes leadership, sort of comes to the top, when it's needed. And I think that the time that leadership really shows itself on a team is when the coaches aren't always involved, and that usually happens in the summer. So we'll kind of see how that develops when the time comes. But the last 3 practices we've had since I talked to you have all been in pads. And, I think we've been able to work a lot on fundamentals, which I think has, come along very nicely. And I'm not satisfied with the progress that we made as a team. But I think what will really be interesting in the first scrimmage is, and because we have so many young players here, basically all the freshmen that we had last year, plus the 15 new guys that we have that came in as mid-year. So we have a lot of really young players on the team. So it'll be interesting to see how they do in the scrimmage on Saturday when there's no coach standing on the field telling them what to do, which I've talked about this before. It's important that guys have enough confidence, not only in what they're supposed to do, but how they're supposed to do it and why it's important to do it that way. So we'll keep working on that. And, Thursday's practice will be, a lot of situational stuff that we'll want to practice in a scrimmage, whether it's, 2-minute, we did goal line today, we did short yardage the last practice. We'll do things like coming out things like that, that we just want to make sure we hit those situations as we go. We've been able to continue to make progress in the kicking game. I'm pleased with the way the players have gone about what they're doing to try to improve. We're not satisfied with where we are, so we want to continue to work hard to get better.
Okay, Coach, we'll start with Charlie.
That's Coach Nick Saban talking a little bit about what you can expect or what he is looking forward to seeing on Saturday scrimmage. And Joe, my grandson is playing baseball, and you have coaches out on the field, and the ball is hit, and everybody's yelling, "Do this, do this, do this," and it's interesting to watch kids make that transition from the coach yelling, "Do this, to actually flowing and doing that. And he is so right. You have guys that in a normal practice, you're like, they're average, but you turn the lights on and they absolutely like just shine beyond anything you could ever imagine. And David Palmer was good in practice, in a regular practice, but live on like punt returns. So you thought, yeah, you can see a little bit. He's okay. But when we got to that scrimmage, I don't know if I've ever shared this story since you've been on here, but I've shared it in the past. When these guys come in, you hear so much hype about them, Joe, and you can get deceived in practice as a teammate as well. And so I was on punt coverage, and Palmer, I was like, he's good, but come on. I mean, this is just, he's not that good. And we were we were practicing and punt return, and we go live, and I'm the safety guy, and they have David pinned pretty much to the sideline, and I have a skill shot on him, and in my head, I think to myself, and that's probably part of the problem, but I'm finna show this freshman that he's playing college football. There is two guys chasing him from behind, the sideline to his right, and me coming at him at an angle that there's no way he can cut back, because Joe, if he cuts back and takes time to make a cut, the two guys behind him is going to catch him, right? That's my thought process. I'm like, well, if he keeps running straight at me, then I'm just going to take. If he cuts back, I can grab him with my arm. I don't know what he did. People have asked me, well, what kind of move did he make? I said, I really don't know. All I know is I went sliding. I slid, Joe, probably 5 yards out of bounds. Didn't touch him. And the two guys behind him didn't tackle him either. So, needless to say, the David Palmer legend was born in my mind in that moment. And, of course, we know, if you're an Alabama fan, you know that he lived up to that hype for some time. And there will be guys coming up this weekend that will have an opportunity to do that, to make a play, to be a difference maker. And it'll be interesting to see who's able to do that. Another thing that Nick Saban brought up that I thought was interesting, from an offensive side of the ball, one of the transitions, Joe, that we're making from a football stylistic potential is this spring we don't have the speedy wide receivers. It seems like other than Slade Bolden, I think the majority of our receivers are kind of the bigger, longer guys. Javon Baker, sitting at 6'2", type of players. Jai Hall is a taller player. As far as the older guys, we have bigger players, bigger wide receivers. Jones Bell at 6 foot. Saban specifically mentioned that it's good to have big guys, but he wants to have some speed. How do, in your opinion, how does that different style of player potentially impact, help, and or hurt a Bryce Young as quarterback when he's used to throwing to a Jalen Waddle who can shake and bake and get open versus the guys that you may have to throw more 50-50 balls to.
Christian Leary enrolled early, did he not?
Yeah, there's some younger guys that are. I think he's here, and there's one other smaller guy. They were just the younger guys. Saban didn't specifically mention them. Go ahead.
Well, I think that I think that he's going to have to get used to throwing to different. I mean, this is the next step in his development. You're not always going to get the kind of guys that he was throwing to in high school, and then even last year, Bryce Young's going to have to get used to. Part of the Alabama way is guys move on and people adapt for the next year. The new year, you kind of develop new skills, or you take weaknesses and you turn them into strengths. So this will be a good chance for him to work on throwing to bigger bodied guys. Your Javon Bakers, your Tyu Jones Bell,
and Ajay Hall is 6'3".
Yep, exactly. Ajay Hall. So you got a bunch of big bodied guys that you can practice throwing to. It's a great chance for him to make some mistakes.
Well, what's interesting is Alabama's really, other than Julio Jones, Amari was big, but not the. We've never really done well, in my opinion, or utilized the 50-50 ball as a part of our offense in terms of the receivers we've had. A lot of those guys have left here, and actually done better potentially at the NFL level than they did even here at Alabama. So it'll be interesting to see if Bryce brings that 50-50 ball to the table. And to me, the biggest difference is route running and anticipating throwing guys open with the smaller wide receiver type players versus being ball placement and having 50-50 guys go up and get it. I just thought it was interesting that Nick Saban brought out speed versus we have big guys this year, and can't wait to see how Bryce Young and Paul Tyson, when given opportunity, how they will work with this set of receivers as the bigger guys. I'm really hoping that we have a big guy that we can go to down in the end zone area with some 50-50 balls. It's you can't complain about the production we've had, but that is something that we've not had a lot of in terms of Alabama football, Joe, in terms of our offense. And so it'll be interesting to see if we're able to add that. Coming back on the other side, we're going to talk a little bit about Pro Day and also give you opportunity if you want to talk more about spring, you can bring that back up. But I want to talk a little bit about Pro Day on the other side, and then we will also catch up with Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries, in the fourth quarter. Thanks for all that you do for being a part of the program, and we thank great folks over at Southmark Design. Scott Smith and his team help us look good, and they will help you with your apparel needs as well as promotional needs. That's Scott Smith at Southmark Design. You can find online at southmarkdesign.com.
Tide 100 in traffic. From the Townsend Exxon Traffic Center, everything pretty quiet as we begin our Wednesday morning. No wrecks or problems on the roadways. But of course, if you do see conditions, give us a call, 205-886-8886. Where are the deals? Townsend Nissan, your hometown dealer. Come grab one today. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
It's happened again in Alabama. A tornado emergency. One local radio company stations broke in with life-saving information to help protect you and your family. That company was our company, Town Square Media. And here on Tide 100.9, we stand committed to do our part for the city and towns we love. When tornadoes touch down in Tuscaloosa, count on Tide 100.9 every time.
Have you been hanging on to a bunch of old paper in your home or office? Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, the Better Business Bureau, and the Chamber of Commerce of West Alabama present Shred Day, Friday, April 9th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Load your paper, bring it in boxes or a container, and we will shred it for free while you wait. Shred Day is limited to paper only, no electronics, and 2 containers. Shred Day, Friday, April 9th, conveniently located in the old McFarland Mall parking lot at 900 Skyland Boulevard East in Tuscaloosa from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
When it's tough, when you get stuck, you hit the wall, the writer's block. You need a spark, a light in the dark to get you out of your head.
You're back in with the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. Yesterday, Alabama had their second pro day, and I would say a good day for the big three, without a doubt, as Devontae Smith participates, Najee Harris participates, Mac Jones answers questions. And before we get into the conversation with those three, Landon Dickerson simply amazes again. I don't know what it's like to play with that guy, Joe, but I think he would be, if I was a GM, if I didn't use a first-round pick on him, I use a second-round pick on him just to have him in my locker room. Did you see what he did yesterday?
Yeah, I saw what he did yesterday. I saw what he did at the first pro day, sneaking up on Mac from behind. I'm with you. You know, the Bears are picking right there at 20, which would be a great, great spot for us to take Landon Dickerson, in my opinion. Tell the people what he did yesterday.
He did a cartwheel. The guy just had knee surgery a couple months ago, and if you track it back, Joe, to when he what he did in the game, like the national championship game. I don't know which one's more impressive, him being out there to take a snap or him carrying Saban off the field. But you fast forward, and he is just, he's one of those guys that Alabama's going to have a hard time replacing. When I hear Nick Saban talk about how much he loved that team last year, to me, Leonard Dickerson is always the guy's picture that comes to my mind, because he seems like in a COVID season, Joe, being down and it being dismal and all that seemed like that would be a natural part of the season, right? And it seemed like even despite all of the off the field stuff and all of the testing and all of the non-football related stuff, it seemed like that football team last year had as much fun playing football as any team I've seen Nick Saban run out on the field, if not more. And I think a lot of that, can be attributed to and just the right moment, the right time, the right thing. He is going to make you laugh and relax, and it's just like I said. I don't know where his knee is going to be. I don't know if he's a first round talent or any, but I know he'll give you a first round effort, and he is a guy that I would want in my locker room to help keep the team and the culture that you're trying to build. As go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, he's exactly the locker room guy that you'd want, and not only that, a lot of times he's a locker room guy. And what does that really mean, Martin? It means he's not going to be your major contributor on the field. Landon Dickerson is more than that. He is the glue guy in the locker room. You saw it with what happened after his injury. You saw it in the pro day 2 weeks ago. The first one, sneaking up on Mac Jones, and just his jovial attitude towards life and towards the game. He seems like the perfect fit for. And I think that there are 32 football teams that are wanting to get him in. They're just trying to decide where the right place to draft him would be.
Yeah, you say that, Joe, you're so right. When people say, oh, man, he's a great locker room guy, it's sort of the same saying that people used to say when they said, oh, she has a great personality. I mean, let's just be real. It's they were trying to find a way to compliment someone that's fun to be around, but not necessarily one you want to go to the dance with. And when I say go to the dance with, it's not someone you want to build your team around. I think Landon Dickerson is the exact opposite of that, and I totally agree with you. Curtis Moore II concurring. He said to me, Landon was the heartbeat of that team. Every single player coming out to the field when he got hurt, very impactful. I think coaches came out, players came out, staff. It was everybody. It was just one of the most amazing things you'd ever see. And let me tell you, we didn't talk about this, Joe, but when they jumped offside in the national championship game, Ohio State did. I was wanting my I think it was, and you're like, come on, Chris, just do just a little bit of in honor of Landon. Let's just get him one time. But anyway, you can only dream and hope for it. Craig Wooden saying he is also a great talent, and I totally agree. To me, he's that. Oh, I called him the first time I heard that he was coming. My comments on the air was he's old school nasty. And to me, that old school nasty, I think that Jedrick Wills is a better player because he played beside him. And I think that you can also say the same thing about Deontay Brown. Without a doubt, we saw the impact he had on Leatherwood in terms of how emotional he was when he went down because of the impact he had on him. And I believe that translated to all of the guys. Quickly to the pro day, not going to get too deep into it, but it was good to see the big three out there throwing for pro day. Mac Jones had a question that he wanted to answer, Joe, and he wanted to answer that question with one of his guys, and that was with Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith participating in pro day yesterday, I think was a huge step forward for him. Something that he brought up that I had totally slipped my mind, Joe, and I don't know if you had thought about this, but the last time we saw Devontae Smith I know there's been a lot of talk about his weight, and he's saying he weighs 170 and he is going to weigh. But supposedly in the pro circles, the question was beginning to get out about whether his finger was healed and whether he would be able to catch or not. And he said that motivated him, along with the fact that Mac asked him to come out and help catch some balls. So Mac Jones was able to complete several deep balls. In one of those being a 55-yard completion to Devontae Smith, hitting him in stride. But I love what Mac Jones said. Mac Jones said the goal ultimately is to complete passes. And he said, I know I'm a passer and not just a thrower, but I did want to show them I can throw the ball 65 yards or further if I have to. So good day for Mac Jones. But how big a deal do you think it was that leading up to these last few weeks before the day that that you had Devontae Smith out there catching balls and answering at least one of the questions that's out there?
Well, Martin, aren't we 6 months away from the next football season?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're talking about, your finger's not healed. Your finger's not healed. You got 6 more months, not weeks, to heal your finger. I think that's a silly concern for these NFL teams. It kind of sounds like some of these teams are trying to get him to slide down the draft board.
Oh, so you really think that somebody may actually plant stories to out so that somebody won't take him?
Well, that happens in NFL circles.
That never happens, Joe. Come on. There are always any of the stories you read about these players that are questionable that pop up late in a situation in a draft class or a draft cycle. You know that's all legit stuff, right? I'm just kidding. Hey, what do you read into the 49ers head coach and general manager, as well as the New Orleans Saints and the New England Patriots were at pro day to see Mac Jones on his pro day? I mean, not Mac Jones, but at Alabama's pro day. The Saints need a quarterback potentially, as well as the Patriots needing a quarterback versus being at Ohio State Justin's Field. Do you read anything into that?
I think that the 49ers are playing an interesting game, whether they're interested in Justin Fields, Mac Jones, or Trey Lance. I think that it's really between Trey Lance and Mac Jones. But to move up, give up 3 first-round draft picks, you've got your guy definitely in mind. And for Shanahan to be in Tuscaloosa yesterday, it looks like that guy that he has in mind is one Mac Jones.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting play there in terms of what the decisions they've made and happened. But then also you take looking and knowing that they both have quarterbacks who had great potential or still may have great potential on their roster, but are they Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in Jameis Winston and Cam Newton? Talking about the Patriots and the Saints, who knows? And I do still want to give a shout out to your man, Najee Harris. Had a great pro day with the season he had, showing his versatility yesterday. Joe was really good. He was able to participate and run virtually every route in what they call the route tree, and run them well. They specifically listed out he executed the swing route, which is where you loop out of the backfield with facing the line of scrimmage. The arrow route, which is a flat route out into the flat, where you look back over, if you're going to your left, you look back over that left. Going to your left, look back over that left shoulder. The hitch route, which is, based on how they do it, 10 to 12, and hook up. Sluggo route, which is if you can get a running back, Joe, that can run the sluggo route, most of the time that running back's going to draw a strong safety or a linebacker based on based on what coverage they're in, and that's just a slant and go. And if you can get the right coverage in a running back that can run that, and we saw Najee do that several times, and then of course curl route and a go route were the routes that he ran. And from all reports, he did a really good job in terms of doing that. So wanted to give a shout out to him. All three of those guys having big days yesterday. Najee Harris, I think, has done nothing but help his stock in the offseason. So it'll be interesting to see how and where he goes, man. He's clearly a first round talent, Joe. The question is just how NFL teams use him. So we'll go ahead and get the break here. We'll talk more about the draft guys as draft gets closer. Come back on the other side. We'll catch up with Executive Director of Blueprint Ministry, Scotty Hollins, presented by Johnson and Marshall Dentistry. The Christian Moment of the Week up next.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks or problems on the roadways. Now, we are seeing some strong storms over Fayette, Marion, and Lamar counties. So please stay alert and drive carefully. And if you see conditions, give us a call. Where are the deals? Townsend Nissan, your hometown dealer. Come grab one today. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread. Good morning. It's going to be another wet and stormy midweek, according to the National Weather Service in Birmingham. Primary threat will run from now until about 3 this afternoon. Showers, thunderstorms, high wind gusts to 60 miles per hour, and torrential rainfall possible. Stay tuned to Operation Stormwatch for continuing coverage. If you have .edu at the end of your email address, you could be the target of a phishing scam. This includes students, faculty, staff at both public and private, profit, and nonprofit institutions of higher learning. I'm Don Hartwick.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Carving. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Carving can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curve series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Carving. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Carving, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Carving can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Carving at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Carving, LLC.
Brought to you by JCPenney. The mystery sale is back just in time for Easter. Shop in store and you can save even more with coupon giveaway. That's the mystery sale, only at JCPenney.
I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO of Wesley Financial Group and timeshare cancellation advocate. I was sued by the largest timeshare company in federal court for simply helping people cancel their timeshare that they had been lied to about. The jury sized me up and came back with a verdict after only 20 minutes. And yes, I won.
My husband and I are more than grateful to everyone at Wesley Financial Group. You know, thanks to Chuck and his team, we feel as though a weight has been lifted and we can move on without the worry of a troublesome timeshare.
Whether you owe $10,000 to $250,000 on your timeshare, it's my mission to get you out of your timeshare, eliminate your payments, and get them off your back permanently. Give my office a call today. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare contract or you'll pay nothing.
Get the facts. Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-959-3388. That's 800-959-3388. 800-959-3388.
The sound of Bama Sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It is the kickoff to the fourth quarter, and we have Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries, presented by Johnson and Marshall Dentistry. Go check out Dentist with an S, Dentist Tuscaloosa.com. dentistchoice.com, and you will find a dentist office that will take care of you, giving you a smile that will last a lifetime. That's dentisttuscaloosa.com. Johnson and Marshall Dentistry presenting Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries. Good morning, Scotty. How you doing, sir?
Good morning, Martin. I am doing fantastic and excited to share with you this morning. How are you?
Doing well. Want to thank you so much for being a part of today, and also thank you for being a part of a conference we have coming up next month. After tomorrow, it'll be this month, but later on in April at Harvest Church. We'll give more details on that. But I want to toss it to you real quick to give us, encourage us how to incorporate our faith into the boardroom, the classroom, or our chosen field of play.
Absolutely, man. Martin, we're still just talking about how can we finish strong. And we're looking at a message from the author of the book of Hebrews to a group of believers who were beginning to coast and go through the motions as it relates to their faith, as it relates to, as I say, living life off the throne, living a submitted life to Christ, living a life seeking to honor him, seeking to know him more, to become more like him, and to make him more known. They were beginning to coast in those areas. And so the author of the book of Hebrews gives them a challenge, you find it in the Hebrews 12:1. He tells them, therefore, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. We'll look at verse 2 in a couple of weeks, but today I'm looking at part 3 of this one verse. I know it's taking us a long time to get through one verse, but this verse is loaded. Especially when we think about finishing strong. So just a quick review, the great cloud of witnesses, he says, therefore, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, that pointed to Hebrews 11, which reminded them of all the people who had run the race before them, all those who, kind of the heroes of the faith, those who had gone before them and who had encountered enormous difficulty, enormous adversity, and yes, they finished, and not just finished, Martin, they finished strong. And so he says, remember the great cloud, let that motivate you. Then he says, lay aside every weight. If you're going to finish strong, there's no way you're going to finish strong if you got extra weight. And so he's saying, hey, remember the great cloud, let that motivate you. Lay aside the weights. No sense in trying to run with extra weights on you. What I'm going to focus on today is the next point. He says, and then let us run with endurance. That's pretty cool, huh? He says, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let's lay aside every weight and then let us run with endurance. Now, quick question, Martin. And I think this is going to be tough for you to answer this one now. You just get your mind right. Here's the question. If Smitty and Jalen Waddle and let's say Patrick Surtain were in a race, and they threw me in the race, all right? I'm in the race too. All right. I'm not going to ask you who's going to win because I think that would be tough. This is even tougher. Who's not going to win? Who's going to come in last?
Possibly you, but
okay.
Just possibly.
So yeah, just possibly, right? Hey, but I tricked you, Martin, because since I put fast people in the race, you assumed that I was talking about a sprint, didn't you?
That's right.
And so if I was running in a race and it was a sprint with those 4 gentlemen, what would be the key factor to the person that was going to win? What's the most important thing?
How fast?
It's speed, isn't it?
That's right.
But what if I told you we were about to run a marathon? Hey, I'm still going to lose probably, but I got a chance, though. I got a chance. So if we're running a marathon, then what's the key factor?
Endurance, ability to sustain.
You got it. So in this passage, he says, let us run with endurance. You know, they say in a marathon, the most important is 2 really important points in a race. It's, first of all, this is a marathon, 26.2 miles. He says, the first most important time in a race is getting a good start, all right, and making sure you develop a good pace and get rolling. But not too fast or you'll burn out, not too slow or you have a bad time. And so he says the second most important time here, Martin, is at the midway point when you realize you have run 13.1, but you got 13.1 more to go. And at that point, the only way you finish is running with endurance. So my challenge today is, guys, if we're going to finish strong, we need to know that the race is long, the race is hard, and we have to have our mind set on running with endurance.
Yeah, and I'm sure you probably have more to share on that, and we'll be back with you next week. Tell our listeners real quick where they can find you and hear more about what you're teaching.
Absolutely. You can go to www.blueprinttuscaloosa.com. You can send me a message there. Come straight to my email.
All right. That's Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries. He's also available to speak to you and your group. And he is going to be a partner with us at Harvest Church for our Stand Student Conference on April 24th. You can find out more about that, and we'll be sharing more about that as well. It's $10 for the students. Age is grades 6 through 12. That's Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministries. Go check him out. Have him part of your organization, your event, student, faith-based, or corporate. Thank you, Scotty. We'll catch up with you next week.
Thanks, Martin.
All right. Roll Tide. Hey, remember this. Trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. And I want to encourage you this Sunday, me making plans to join a church somewhere, and we'd love to have you at Harvest Church. Roll Tide.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9.
You too. Thanks.
Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the